Hey y'all. So today we're doing some pepperoncinis. I've already inspected these, picked and washed them to make sure they're ready to go into my jars. And the next step will be preparing the pepperoncinis by slicing a line down the middle of them. And this is so that your brine mix that we're going to make later, your brine will go into the pepperoncinis while they're inside the jars and get that flavor going all the way through. So I've already prepared the plate, and these are the ones that I'm going to be putting into the jars. And I've already been steaming my jars for probably like about 10 minutes. And when you see them come out, they're going to be smoking a bit. And that's from the heat. And I boil the jars as well as the lids all in the same pot together. All right. These are the lids again. So now I just need to make sure that when I pack these pepperoncinis inside the jars, and these are 8-ounce mason jars. I got smaller jars because I pretty much pick pepperoncinis every day. So I don't always have a huge load enough for a 32-ounce jar, which are the big ones, so or a 16-ounce. But I can use these 8-ounce just for the family to pack some away. So you see I'm trying to pack these as tight as I can get them. We've already sliced we've already sliced open the pepperoncinis so that the brine, when we pour it in there, it'll soak right into the pepperoncinis, and we should be able to make sure there are no air bubbles floating around in there. So once we get these packed as tight as they can get, we'll add that brine, and then we'll check and make sure that we're mashing out the air pockets. All right. And you always want to make sure that you boil those jars before you put that hot brine in there, because of course if they're not about the same temperature, you're going to have a problem or an explosion. All right, so this brine consists of vinegar, and I use just regular white vinegar, kosher, salt, and sugar. Now I think earlier when I did some first jarring, I did some pepperoncinis, but I used some of my pickling mix, which I didn't use the pickling season with this one. And there you see the Heinz distilled white vinegar, Morton's canning and pickling salt, as well as some pure granulated sugar. And usually it's just a cup of water and a cup of vinegar. All right, so now I have the spatula, and with the spatula, I'm going to be mashing these down and making sure that I press them to get the air out so that the liquid can go inside each of the peppers. And I want to make sure I'm doing the same with this jar. Just mashing, making sure all the air gets out of the peppers and the fluid or the liquid, the brine, gets inside those peppers before we seal them up and get them ready for processing in the hot water. And here I'm just checking to make sure that the liquid comes up to the appropriate limit on the lid, on the jar. And I felt like I needed to add a little bit more liquid to bring up the level. It's like 1/4 of an inch or something like that. when I'm usually doing this, I'm usually following a recipe, a canning recipe when I'm working with this jarring, because this is new to me, but it's a lot of fun, and I don't want to lose the produce that I'm getting and farming or harvesting out of the garden. And this is a good way to keep a lot of these things that we end up paying money for at the store to have that same taste. So these pepperoncinis and this brine should taste like the ones that we get from Papa John's whenever we order pizza. But we got in the habit of buying these jars even for when we're eating our greens and any turnips, collards, anything of that sort. We like eating pepperoncinis, and they're, from what I understand, they're an Italian pepper, or that's what I've heard. All right, so you want to tighten these jars for boiling, and they're going to boil for about 15 minutes in the jar. And I've got my labels already written out with the special white marker that comes with them. And here they are, hot out of the water. And now that I think about it, I probably could have stuffed all of them into one jar. But, you live and you learn. But at the time, that's all I felt like I could get in that jar. So that's why there's some space in there. But we tend to pour the juice, like I said, over our vegetables. And if we have pizza, we pour some of the brine, the juice, over our pizzas. And this was a few days ago. I had already put the top on it, and this was our finished product. Thanks for watching.